Welcome to question 4 of the 2016 Mathematical Methods Exam 1 for the Southern Hemisphere. In this video we will be looking at the solution and examination advice for this question. A reminder that this video is in no way endorsed by VCAA. For question 4 we have a paddock containing 10 tagged sheep and 20 untagged sheep. 4 times each day one sheep is selected at random from the paddock, placed in an observation area and studied, and then it is returned to the paddock. For part A, we are asked what is the probability that the number of tagged sheep selected on a given day is 0. So for this question we can identify this as being a binomial distribution. So x would be distributed as a binomial random variable with n a number of trials and p as a probability of success. And now before we go on and use the actual values of n and p for this question, we're just going to remind ourselves that the probability of achieving x successes, so the probability x is equal to little x, is equal to n, the total number of trials, choose x successes, and then we have the probability success to the power of x, and then the probability of failure to the power of n minus x. So for this question, our discrete random variable is distributed as a binomial random variable, and the number of trials is 4 because we're selecting 4 times each day, and the probability of success, which is selecting in this case a tagged sheep, is going to be 10 out of 30 in total, which is 1 in 3, so a probability of success of a third. So therefore the probability of choosing 0 tagged sheep, so that's the 0 there, is going to equal 4 choose 0 times the probability of success, which is 1/3 to the power of 0, and then the probability of failure, which is 2/3 to the power of 4. Now that's going to simplify quite nicely because 4 choose 0 is simply 1, and 1/3 to the power of 0 is 1, so we just have 2 on 3 to the power of 4. And that is going to simplify to 2 to the power of 4 is 2, 4, 8, 16, and 3 to the power of 4 is 81. So that is the answer to part A of this question. So from the examiner's report we can see that 58% of students got this question correct, and 42% of students got 0 marks. Incorrect responses overlook the stipulation of selecting 4 times each day, thus not identifying a binomial distribution. Some students considered untagged sheep rather than tagged sheep, which was asked for in the question. For part B, we're asked what is the probability that at least one tagged sheep is selected on a given day. So that's going to be the probability of selecting at least one tagged sheep, and we know from our knowledge of complementary events that that is going to equal 1 minus the probability of selecting 0 tagged sheep, which is in fact what we found on the previous slide. So that's going to equal 1 subtract 16 over 81, and that is going to equal 65 over 81. So that is the answer for part B of this question. From the examiner's report we can see once again 58% of students got this right, and the examiner's report goes on to state that students did identify that the answer to this part of the question was simply the complement of their answer above. However, some students wasted time in finding the sum of 4 probabilities rather than using complementary events, and others made errors in their arithmetic. For part C, we're asked what is the probability that no tagged sheep are selected on each of 6 consecutive days, and we're asked to express our answer in the form a divided by b to the power of c, where a, b and c are all positive integers. So this question is just asking us to get 0 tagged sheep on 6 consecutive days. So we could have this time the binomial variable y, so y is distributed binomially, with 6 trials, and the probability of getting no tagged sheep is what we found earlier on, which was 16 over 81. Therefore, the probability of getting 0 tagged sheep 6 days in a row is equal to 6 choose 6, the probability of success, which is 16 on 81 to the power of 6, and the probability of 65 on 81 to the power of 0. And now that simplifies down. 6 choose 6 is 1, and 65 on 81 to the power of 0 is also 1, So our answer is going to be 16 on 81 to the power of 6. And now because that's in the form a on b to the power of c, that is our final answer for part C. So from the examiner's report we can see that 61% of students got this question correct, and that the majority of students made the correct connection between part A and the exponent of 6. So that was part A just raised to the power of 6. The most common incorrect answer was 2/3, which was the probability of getting an untagged sheep to the power of 6. So that would have only selected 6 untagged sheep in a row rather than 4 untagged sheep 6 days in a row.